I walk in the bull, go, out for the. I walk in the bull, go, out for the. Hey everybody, come on in, get seated, cause I'm about to sit down with Timeekah Murphy, and I'm gonna be saying Murph during the interview. But this is something different, y'all, than what you used to, because usually it's musicians and all of this. But guess what? I'm gonna let her tell you what she is because I think it's fire. Murph,
How
tell them
y'all
about.
doing? No, I appreciate you having me. Like she said, my name is Murph, and I am a fashion designer.
She is, and she is being very humble, and her brand is Alani Taylor.
Yes. Boom.
Yes. I'm gonna say, see, she got it on her chest, y'all.
I don't wear nothing other than Alani Taylor every day I wake up. So,
That's awesome. That's
yep.
awesome.
I don't know when the last time I shopped for someone else's clothes. Well, now I wear other black designers' clothes, but to go like go in the mall or something like that. Like I have two closets in here, and they're both full of Alani Taylor. So
Okay.
don't have nothing to worry about.
Now that's what you call branding.
Yes, ma'am.
That's definitely, and then you loving what you do and you loving your product. So I think that's really cool. So let's talk about this. Now you were in the military, correct?
Yes.
All right. So during your time in the military, that's when you discovered what you want to do in fashion, right?
I wouldn't even say I discovered because I didn't. Honestly, like I started making clothes in 2011. One, because I was stationed at Fort Hood, which was my last duty station.
Mm-hmm.
And Fort Hood is one of the biggest military bases in the world, as people know. But for some reason, they thought it was smart enough to only have one mall for hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So you caught a lot of soldiers looking the same. Shopping in the same places, and me being from up north, I didn't adapt to that, so I never wanted to look like nobody else. So in 2011 I started teaching myself how to sew, and I wasn't even doing it because fashion was in my brain or a part of like my life. I did it so I didn't look like everybody else, but people started kind of gravitating to the clothes that I was wearing and asking me where I got it from. And me being from up north, like we're like natural born hustlers. And being, I think back then I was probably like a E4. And so I'm not making a lot of money. And with that, I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, man, like I can make money from this. So it was a hustle for me, but
Mm-hmm.
also just for me to stand out from other people. And then fast forward 2016 is when I can honestly say that I started taking fashion serious. So 6 years from the time that I really was making clothes is when I was like, yo, I'm gonna do this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I did.
Wait a minute. Well, hold on. How does somebody? Because I keep hearing people say they teach themselves how to sew. Now, I tried YouTube University.
Yeah, I went to YouTube University.
And it worked for you.
Yes, it did. So it worked for me because I got a brain injury while I was serving. So well, prior to that, I got hurt playing basketball. And that's why I say fashion wasn't part of my life, because when I was growing up, I was playing basketball all my life. Like I was uh on the way to the WNBA, in my senior year I got hurt. And I was in I was in a coma for a short time. I fell on my head playing street ball outside, and when I woke up, I couldn't remember anything. And so I forgot that I knew how to play basketball and all of that. And I ended up losing my scholarship to Duke University. And then ended up going to a community college called Westchester College, community college or whatever. And so then from that, because I didn't know like where I was or what I was supposed to be doing because of the brain injury,
Mm-hmm.
I went into the military. One, because of my brother, but also because I was angry as hell, and I didn't have no way to release that outside of knowing that you go to the army, you fight. So in 2011, yes, YouTube University is what got me to be able to make shirts, because I started out like just taking pockets off of stuff or going to Walmart and buying fabric and making pockets for like t-shirts and things. And it went from that to me making a full t-shirt from scratch, to me making pants from scratch and things like that. So just more trial and error and practice. until I was able to make a dress, suits, gowns, and all that stuff. So just practice,
Mhm.
practice, practice.
Practice and persistence, because
Yes,
you
yes,
have a lot of persistence and you are consistent. So
absolutely.
those
I get
things,
that from the army. So
I want to say that came from the army.
yes,
That discipline and stuff. So I was going to ask you about the whole thing with the WNBA, because I know that had to be devastating.
absolutely. I was angry as hell for most of my life. I probably didn't really accept what happened, and even just my childhood growing up and being molested and things like that. Like I went through a lot as a kid, and I'm 30, I'll be 39 this year. I didn't heal until I was 32 years old. So,
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So now you get your brand going, right? So when did people start getting interested in what you were doing and what you were making? Was it the clothes that
Um
you were wearing when you were in the military?
so what's funny is I would say from day one, like when I really grasped sewing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm 2014. So from 2011 to 2014, people would like buy certain things from me. But when we deployed in 2014, I had my ex-wife send me my sewing machine overseas. I was at Camp John at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I would make my own sweatsuits because on like deploying, you can't really wear certain stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I would make my own sweatsuit, so I didn't have to buy the PX clothes. And soldiers would be like, "Yo, where'd you get that sweatsuit?" So I started hustling overseas. Like I would have them buy fabric from the States, send it to me, and make sweatsuits for the soldiers. So I really was, I would say from day one when I got how to make everything, people couldn't stop buying it. And again, it was just a side hustle for me. I think I made more money selling sweatsuits to soldiers than I did from the pay that you get when you deploy.
So wait a minute, where were you when I was overseas?
When were you there?
You was in Killeen when I was over there.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, my
so
last my last deployment was 2014.
I
So,
I was
and that was Air John. And then we went to Camp Buren, and we did like missions like ground through
there. Mhm.
Afghanistan probably like one time or whatever. So
What year were you in Afghanistan?
2014.
I was there.
Yeah, see.
Yeah,
So we
okay,
just
I
was
was there.
crossing each other on the
Yeah.
highway and not Humvees and stuff. So
Mhm, mhm. I wish I had known about your stuff, then I wouldn't have to be up in the daggone PX or on
right.
Amazon.
Nobody couldn't touch me over there. I was the flyest soldier out. They were
All
so
right.
mad until they was like, we might as well give her the money. And so you would just see everybody walking around. And at that time, my brand was called Prodigy Life Clothing. Why? I don't know. But Prodigy has stuck out to me. So everybody will be walking around with Prodigy Life on their sweatsuits instead of Alani Taylor at the time. So
Okay, okay, okay. So let's get into Alani Taylor.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, because she's so adorable. So you
Yes,
named it your line after your daughter, and she is
I
so,
did.
so adorable. So tell me about that decision to do that.
So in the time that I was sewing, so prior to that, I had did Paris Fashion Week. I did like LA, Dallas, and all these different fashion shows that people would start asking me to do. And I was doing like high fashion clothing, I guess you would say,
Mhm,
but I was in love with streetwear.
mhm,
So I wanted, no, I'm sorry, it's backwards. I was doing streetwear, and then in 2016, after my daughter was born, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this serious. I'm gonna name the brand after my daughter. And Alani Taylor just fit. Like it literally was like this is what you got to do. So I knew that I couldn't carry streetwear over to Alani Taylor because of the sound of the name. It
mhm,
sounded more elegant and strong rather than street.
mhm.
So I started making like high fashion clothing and like couture clothes and things like that. So I would make like red carpet dresses and suits and things for people, but I didn't like it at all. I couldn't stand just making dresses and suits because it wasn't my style.
Yeah.
And so from there in 2018, I was supposed to do Project Runway, and I had to
Mhm.
go and do an interview with them. And the way I dress, like with my bow ties and everything like that, is how I entered into the interview. But I had brought with me to show what I can do. I brought streetwear, I brought couture, avant-garde, I brought everything with me because what I wanted to do as a designer was I wanted to teach myself every genre of fashion. And I felt like that would make me different from any designer out there, because when designers become designers, it's because they catch a certain genre of fashion that
Mhm.
they fall in love with, and that's what they study. Me, I've always been a learner. I was a generator mechanic in the army, so I always wanted to like take things apart and see how you fix
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So I knew, like, if I learned every aspect of what fashion is about, like, you can't touch me. So I was able to do streetwear, I was able to do casual, I was able to do high fashion, like avant-garde, couture, all of
Mhm.
those things. And so um then when Alani Taylor, I just was like, if I'm gonna name this brand after my daughter, I have to take it serious,
Mhm.
because I'm about to create something for her that I've never had in my life, and that our culture sometimes don't think about, and that's adding value to your kid's name. Like, if I was
Mhm.
to leave today, what can I say I left behind for my daughter? One, because I didn't bring her to this earth to live in poverty, to live without anything. I wanted her to live better than what I had. And that's where the Alani Taylor came from. And when I decided to do that, oh yeah, so Project Runway was like, we love that you can do everything, but we don't know who you are as a designer. Cause like I said, I run everything. So they was like, you have streetwear here, you have this, you have that, but who are you? And that was the day that I decided to take a step back and say, like, for real, like, who am I? I can do everything, but what can people know me for? And
Mhm.
that's when I combined streetwear and high fashion together, because I was in love with one, but the other paid me more. So
Okay.
that's where, like, my drop crotch kilt pants came from, because I can make a drop crotch and wear it with a hoodie, but I can
Mhm.
turn that into something else. So
Mhm.
um Alani Taylor was the reason why, one, I rebranded myself, why I discovered myself and everything. So she is the cause of everything that's happening right now.
Okay, I like that. Now, didn't you do a children's line, or am I confused? I
I
thought
did.
you
I
did.
did. So I did a children's line because I was doing a mommy and me, daddy and me collection with my ex-wife now, who was my wife at the time, and it was supposed to be for her and my daughter to be the face of it. Um
Mhm.
and it just didn't work out. I felt like I was pushing more of my dream onto her than what
Mhm.
she wanted to be involved in. So I just was like, if the universe allows, and if it
Mhm.
aligns like that, then I'll go back into it and do it the right way.
Okay, I
Yeah,
like that. That's cool. Now, AT&T Black Future Honoree in Essence. Tell me a
yeah,
little bit about that, because I'm like, all right now,
right. Me too.
all right, go
So
get it.
I had no idea. And any accomplishment that I've gotten, I had no idea these people was even looking at Alani Taylor. So I got an email from the AT&T Black Future Makers, and it was just basically saying that we would like to honor you as a Black Future Maker, because of everything that you're doing in your field, in the community, all
Mhm.
those things. And so I think I called my PR Michelle at the time. Or no, was it my PR, or I probably called my girlfriend, and I was just like, "Yo, look at this," or whatever. And I'm not understanding what it was. I knew AT&T. Oh my God, that's big, but not
Mhm.
knowing, like, how big.
Okay.
So she was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing," or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. Cause for me as a designer, I literally stay in my element. Like, I stay in my lane. My head is down until I can say that this brand is on autopilot and my daughter has nothing to worry about. So I don't really look at the social media like most people think that I do. I don't get
Mhm.
into it. I barely know multiple designers, because I'm like, the only designer I got to worry about is myself. So
Mhm.
I didn't know what the Black Future Makers were until they contacted me. And then I researched it and I was like, holy crap, like, what? So the people, LeBron, Queen Latifah, Neo, John Legend, all of these people are attached to this. And I'm like, and y'all want me
It's
to
you.
be an alumni of the Black Future Makers. And I got on the phone with them and everything, and they was just like, we love what you're doing. And at that point, now that I know what it is, I still was like, all right, like I appreciate it, because I don't, for me, I don't know the impact that I make on people most of the time. Like, I know I'm doing something, but I don't know to what caliber I'm doing it until
Yeah.
people is like really like, yo, you've changed my life, or your inspiration and things like that. But for that, like AT&T in Essence to say we want to do a story on you is insane. And for me, maybe because of where I come from, I came from nothing. Like, I came from, my whole family was on drugs. You know, my
Mhm.
grandmother raised me. I didn't have a mother or father growing up, so I was just trying to survive. You know,
Mhm.
and now I think I'm more surprised that all of this is being attached to my daughter's name more
Mhm.
so than me accomplishing it. You
Mhm.
know, so to say, to show my daughter Alani Taylor attached to Essence, or even Alani Taylor attached to Beyonce, and
Mhm.
all these different things, like, that means more to me than um the acknowledgement for myself, you know. So
So do
yeah,
you ever just sit back and just reflect on all of that and,
absolutely.
just how huge that is for her?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, because
I
that's like amazing.
I think about it all the time. Because like I said, me and my brothers came from, I won't say we came from nothing, because that would take away from all the hard work my grandmother
Mhm.
did. But again, we didn't have a much. Well, we went through seeing my mom on drugs, and my
Mhm.
dad was locked up from the time I was 2 months old till I was 31 years old. So
Okay.
I didn't have that. Like, I had my uncle who was my father figure, but he was a drug dealer. You know, so
Mhm.
um we didn't have money. We wasn't able to just go get whatever we want. And for me to be able to provide that for my daughter, and just that being like a thought at first when my daughter
Mhm.
was born, I was like, I was tunnel vision. I was like, yo, I have to give her the best life she's ever had, you know? And
Mhm.
so even with the ups and downs of being in this industry, I'm still doing it. Like, she doesn't
Mhm.
have to want for anything, you
Yeah.
know? And she's not old enough right now to understand, but I said I will sit down when my daughter can look at me and say thank you.
Mhm.
Once I get that from her, I did my job.
That's
Yeah,
so beautiful. I love that. So being a black woman in this industry, what is that like? Because I mean, it seemed like that would be tough. Now I don't know. I'm not there, but
it is, and I can't act like it's not. I think for any black woman in any industry, it is hard. For me per se, me being a black woman, me being black is a strike. Me being a woman is a strike, and me being a lesbian is a strike. So I
Mhm.
always tell people, like, I was supposed to have been struck out, but I didn't. To me, I hit a home run, you know,
Mhm.
because for us, everybody looks at us like we're at the bottom of the barrel, not understanding that we're the most powerful people in this world.
Mhm.
So although it's hard for me, in certain situations, I also have learned who I am. I know my value. I know how to control what I put out to the universe. And like I said, I didn't learn that until I was 32. So I'm already in the industry. So I got a lot of no's. I got a lot of disappointments, even when I worked with Deviant. And Brittany is obviously a white person, and I'm black, and we did the Beyonce and all that, and not too many people know that I was there from day one. If it wasn't for Murph, and if everybody would be honest, if it wasn't for Murph, Deviant would not have even existed. You
Right.
know, because I was the only person that can bring that vision to life, and I didn't get my recognition for it. And I believe, one, because of who I was and what I looked like. So
Mhm.
I wasn't the poster girl that they were looking for to put out there, to put behind Deviant. Um, so I've had situations like that. But then I started making my own table and cooking my own food, and
Mhm.
inviting other people to eat with me that believed in me, rather than me trying to go out there and get people to notice my brand.
Okay, okay. And so that's kind of like how you move with your collaborations now?
I do. I do. I allow the universe to control everything that I do now. Before, I used to take the wheel and I used to crash every time. So I always would think that I was on the right path until I got to that wall and I would crash and be like, this is not the lane you're going. Because I actually put Alani Taylor to the side in 2017 to build Deviant up. And I had to take a step back and be like, if you can do that for Deviant, then you can do that for what you originally started this for anyway, which is your daughter. So I walked away from Deviant and I started putting my energy back into Alani Taylor. And now Alani Taylor is where it's at. So what people don't even know is when we did the Beyonce and the Cardi B's and the Tiffany Haddishes and all that, every single time that that happened, I went into depression. Like I didn't feel like I was doing anything. I didn't accomplish nothing because it didn't have Timeekah Murphy or Murph. It didn't have Alani Taylor attached to it or anything. All you saw was Deviant Levy, Britney duet. And I would be like, bruh, like what are you doing? Why are you taking this? Like you're so much more valuable than that. Obviously, if it wasn't for you, no one would even know what this brand was. So why are you taking this? I would have our own people, black men. We would go into meetings and we would sit there and they would not, even though they knew that I was a part of the brand, they wouldn't even pay attention to me. I didn't do any of the red carpets or anything that they said, hey, Brittany, come and do, things like that. So it long story short, is not easy. It's never been easy, and it's still not easy today. But I have a military background. You know what I'm saying? So I don't let nothing stop me, and I don't let nothing get in my way because at the end of the day, this is bigger than whoever is standing there, and this is about my daughter. So whatever I got to do to accomplish the mission that I set out for myself, the mission gonna get accomplished. Period.
Yeah. And one of the things that you always remind me of, because I hear you say it so much, especially like on your IG, manifestation.
Absolutely.
Manifestation. And actually, I've always used it and I love that word. But the more like even hearing you and some of your stories and how you've turned things around, I'd be like, you know what? Stop. You can manifest this stuff. Think, believe
Absolutely.
it, see it. You
Yes.
know? So people are watching you.
I hope so because that's what it's about for us to be a blessing to others. Be blessed to be a blessing. So I always tell people like I got a cut on my finger right now and I'm literally watching my own body heal itself. Like this finger was cut open and
Mm-hmm.
now it's closed. So if our bodies can do that without us telling it to, imagine when you start speaking certain things that you want to happen in the world. Like that this one cut alone should tell people how powerful a human being is. You can heal your own body. So if you start using your mind and saying this is what I want and staying on that frequency, the universe don't have a choice but to give it to you. And I am a living testimony of how manifestation works. And that came from me manifesting Beyonce, me manifesting Lena Waithe, me manifesting so many different things. I used to say I'm gonna make $20,000 a month, or I used to put in my book. First, I started at 10 because my mind wasn't there. Then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, if I can do that, I can do this. And now I'm in a position and I'm around people who like 20K ain't nothing,
Mm-hmm.
So manifestation is the most powerful thing, and that don't come from nowhere but here.
Okay. I love that. And then the other thing that I really respect you for is your transparency and your sincerity because you hit a rough spot and it went against your integrity,
Yes.
you know? And I was like, man, she came up on this IG live and she's just like so transparent, but it was definitely sincere. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, because I am transparent. So at one point in my career, I had to close part of my business. So I started my high fashion side and then I started my streetwear side. But I went again, staring my own wheel. I went the shortcut route. And I started using a manufacturer that would give me more profit than quality. And not that I consciously knew that, but I suffered from trying to go the easy route rather than give my customers what they deserve and what I speak about. So, what was that? Probably 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my customers, and this when I was booming. This is during the pandemic, so people are still rocking with Alani Taylor, buying from me, and I'm grateful at this point. And I get a phone call from one of my associates who's also in fashion, and he was like, "Murph, is this your stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "It can't be because I know what you produce." And so
Mm-hmm.
a customer knew him, and this is
Mm-hmm.
all the way in Texas. So
Wow.
he was like, "Yo, it's no way that this is your stuff." And he was like, "Do you know this is what they're putting out?" They took a Gildan shirt, left the Gildan tag, put Alani Taylor on a shirt, and was just sending out the worst type of quality clothing. And I was getting all of these messages from clients like, "I want my money back. I want this. I want that." And I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" Because I don't produce low quality stuff. So I had the customer send it to me, and it was the most embarrassing moment that I had ever had in my career. So I believe we refunded the customer and still sent her something, because at the end of the day, my reputation is everything. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna say that I'm perfect, because I do mess up, even still learning those lessons. And sometimes some things are out of my control, but I couldn't allow that to continue, no matter how much money I made from customers buying things. Like, I would have never lasted if I would have allowed that to keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to make the conscious decision to say, you know what, until I can get this right, I can never sell another one of these pieces until this is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get to everybody. And I feel like the way that I can connect with the people who support me and that buy my clothes was through social media. And I had to come on social media and say, like, I'm forced to do this. I want
Mm-hmm.
to apologize to whoever got garments that wasn't up to par for me. But it's definitely not something that I stand behind or something that I purposely put out. It was unknowing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to fix it. And the way to fix it was to sacrifice part of my business. And this is the way that I eat. This is the way I feed my kids. So it wasn't good. Like, it was the hardest thing I had to do, and I had to figure that out. But because of that, I got blessed 10 times more by doing that. And so I don't regret doing it at all. I appreciate learning that lesson early in my career, and now, like, I can't be stopped.
Yeah.
So
And that's what's up. And then the other good thing is, I think that sometimes we have to go through some trials in order for us to elevate and
right.
build, because that's a building, a building stone, a stepping stone for us to get to where we need to be. So I commend you, and I love the fact, I was like, oh my goodness. And I've seen some other videos that you put out, and I'm like, when she hit a spot, she does come out there and say, hey, look, this is what happened. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is not what I want things to look like.
Yeah.
But then you got a big win coming right now, because
Yeah.
you have your building, your
Absolutely.
store.
This building is a dream come true. So, of course, being military background, like as an E6, I was training soldiers. I was going overseas and deploying with soldiers that I had to look after. So that's like instilled in me to train a soldier to be a soldier. And so in my fashion career, I felt like that was how I gave back. That was my purpose. This is what God put me on this earth for. And I've always said, being in this and learning, that if I wanted to do anything before I left this earth, and that was to teach the youth how to do what I do, because they love
Mhm.
it too. And so, yes, I was put in a place that I don't even know how it happened. But I partnered up with this someone named Gibson, who is Akon's cousin, actually. And Gibson is like in love with fashion. Of course, his background is music, but he loved fashion.
Mhm.
And when I tell you, this man did not know me from a can of paint. Someone that I was associated with, Gibson was selling his studio, and the guy called me. His name's Diego, and Diego called me and was like, "Murph, check this out." And he was like, he's selling this place. So I'm like, if he's selling it, Diego, won't you buy it? You invest in so many things. And he is like, he showed me the clothing store and he told me who it was. And I was like, bro, I'm on my way. I literally had just walked in the house. I was ready to take it down for the day. And I was like, I'm on my way. Cause I've always been that person. Nothing is promised for you tomorrow. So you have to act like tomorrow will never come. So I
Mm-hmm.
always try to take the opportunity when I can. So like you saw that, it's like a Instagram post where they be like when you have to when Sunday end and Monday and the person falls on the bed and hop back up. That's literally what I did. Like I walked in the door and I walked right back out. Got back in my truck and I went over there and I met Gibson. And it was like we knew each other forever. He had already knew like a part of my resume, what I had done on my own, and next thing you know, he's like, yo, like, let's do this together. And at the time, I'm not grasping it because a lot of people talk, but the actions don't line up. So I'm just like, all right, bro. And I don't get excited until we're in the moment. Like people rarely see me excited. Like how I was on Instagram showing the building is because this shit is happening. So
Mm-hmm.
all of that is inside of me. So I was like, all right, bro, for sure. Let's link up. One thing went from another to another, and next thing you know, we're business partners, opening up a whole building. Um, and yeah, every day I thank God for placing me where He's placed me, aligning me with the people that He aligned me with, keeping me on a frequency that I am on right now. So this is a dream come true to me for sure. Like I don't know what else to ask God for. Literally, like I don't know what other prayer other than to wake up every day to continue to see my daughter because He's given me everything that I asked for.
Wow,
Like
and that's deep.
that's why I have this on my head. It says Zenith on here,
Okay.
and that is for literally Zenith is for like when you reach the highest peak of your life. And even though for me, I think Zenith is you waking up every day, like that's the highest point that you can reach on a day-to-day basis, which is waking up and breathing. But when I tell you, I don't know what else to pray to God for right now because I'm so blessed at this point. Even yeah, I don't know, and so I'm super excited about it. And
That's
it's called the lab. Like it just
I was
makes
gonna say,
sense.
wait a minute, because I was gonna ask you about that because I was like, did she say it's called a lab? And then so when you walk through, you got the store, then you go back, you got the lab area, and then over here you're gonna have some offices, and then upstairs you're gonna have something else, like some staff or something. Was that
Yes,
what?
so we're building a 2-level floor in there. So our offices will be upstairs, the conference room will be downstairs. The front will be the store, and then in the middle will be all where all the production happen, where all the schooling happen, us teaching kids and things like that. And then in the back will be the woosah area from coming from all that chaos to be in. You're walking to the dopest break room you can ever walk into, and then we're also putting a recording studio in there at the same time. So that's why it's the lab. Like there's nothing that you really can't come here and get. You're going to be educated, you can shop, you can produce your own clothing, you can learn how to you can learn how to do everything, do product development. Everything that it took for me to get here, I'll be teaching to other kids and even adults at that point. So we'll have everything is going to happen. Like I don't know nobody in Atlanta that's they gonna be like, where you going? And they're gonna be like, we going to the lab. And that's just me manifesting it. Everybody in Atlanta will say, I'm about to head to the lab. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to roll out from Augusta,
You're gonna have to.
yeah, because
You
we
have
left
to come to
Atlanta
the
a
grand
year
opening.
ago. But I'm always out there because I go to the doctor. I go to the doctor. I go out there all the time. So
You
yeah.
have to. I would definitely send you guys an invitation to the grand opening because it's gonna be insane. That
Okay.
grand opening, that parking lot is gonna be crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see it now. I actually can see it. When I was looking at you on IG, I was like, wow, that's gonna be something.
Yeah,
That's gonna
I
be
can't wait to show y'all the end result. And I did none of the designer. Gibson is an architect. Like he can create a blank space and turn it into a palette. So I told him, bro, don't ask me nothing about the building. You know what we want. I can't wait to walk in and see what you created. So all of that is on him. My job is to create, teach these people how to create, and both of us bring that income in. So yeah.
okay. Well, I'm excited for you. So we're gonna play a little game. Wait a minute, I gotta find my little quote that I took. Who can take your life by giving you life? I was so far off.
Man, that's a hard one. Um, of course, I got the answer.
I
A
know. Give
judge.
us the answer. How you can? Did you come up with that?
No,
You found the riddle.
who told me that? One of my clients, he told me that, and I was like, bro, because I didn't have the answer, and I was like, I have to use that in a giveaway because I thought no one was gonna get it because I didn't. And like 5 people got it right off the back, but it was the first person who got it. And of course, I was about to send everybody a jacket, but I was like, wow, that makes so much sense that a judge could take your life by
Yes.
giving you life. So yeah, it was really fun when we did it too. It was so much fun. I had people in my DM talking about, no, I got it first. So I was like, all right, I'll send you a t-shirt. I'm not gonna send you the jacket because that's the real prize, but I'll send you something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't get it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was fun.
That's cool. So y'all check her out on IG. All her stuff is down there. But before we go, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
Absolutely.
It's been so cool conversating with you. Is there anything that you want to leave with the viewers and for those that will come and see it?
Yeah, I would definitely just say whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to it, just do it. Because no one can convince a person to be great. You got to believe that firsthand that you are great and that you can accomplish anything before my words or anybody else's words mean anything to you. We can manifest over you, but it doesn't work until you start manifesting within yourself. So don't ever let nobody tell you that you can't do anything because I am living proof that you can have whatever you want.
I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
I appreciate you.
I'm telling you, I wish you everything. And I know you say it's nothing left for you really to ask for, but whatever it is, the sky is the limit. Go get it.
Right. Thank you so much.
You.